in the Dallas Cowboys coaching staff. I'm talking right now with Alex Khvatov of NFLDraftBlitz.com. He's on Twitter at NFLDraftBlitz and online NFLDraftBlitz.com. About 20 minutes away from Bobby Hamilton, former New England Patriots, two-time champion with him. But right now, we're back into the Senior Bowl talk. Was there a Manti Te'o or Michael Sam type conversation going on down at the Senior Bowl? Because I remember this is around the time where the Michael Sam stuff started coming a little bit more to the surface. And, of course, after the Manti Te'o fake girlfriend thing, that was a big a topic of conversation down there a few years ago. Was there any type of thing going on in Mobile this year like that?
I would say there was a guy that made some money this week. It's a linebacker from Temple, Hassan Reddick.
Mm-hmm.
He had a big week here, a pass rusher that just has the ability to get to the quarterback. It was interesting because he was a defensive end. He switched to linebacker during the week, and he looked so fluid.
I saw that.
He looked so natural. You know, there's some guys that get it. You know, he's 6'1.5", 237 pounds, and he just made an incredible transition to linebacker. And I thought he was incredibly fluid in coverage, and that's probably the biggest thing that these guys have to make when they make that transition. He's got some off-the-field issues. So the on-the-field stuff, you see that. When you check his film, before I came here, I thought he was a top 50 guy, and he exploded onto the scene, showed what he can do, was one of the better standouts during the week. But there are some off-the-field issues there that scouts and teams are digging into. It might not be like a Manti Te'o thing, but
right.
What I mean, it could be like a Noah Spence type of thing. Let's just say that.
The kid that went to
Let's
Eastern
clear
Kentucky.
it up for our readers. Noah Spence, the Eastern Kentucky kid who
Tampa Bay
blew
right
up
now.
at last year's Senior Bowl. He went in the second round to Tampa Bay.
Right.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Reddick. This guy could go high. I think he is a second-round pick, but he could drop because of some character issues.
I want to ask you about what you just talked about, though. Some of those transitional guys who showed up playing one position in college, but because of their size and maybe an extreme amount of athleticism, were asked to do some other things, like as far as a guy who, like you just mentioned, Riddick, guy who played with his hand in the ground, but looked very good on 2 feet in some cover. He did a very good job in the game, as a matter of fact, in coverage. I heard Mike Mayock and those guys talking about it. Were there any other guys like him making a little bit of a transition?
Yeah, absolutely. There are a couple of other pass rushers as well. There's a kid named Derek Rivers from Youngstown State.
Okay.
He was a defensive end in college. He's big. He's about 6'4", 255 pounds. He was doing some good work in the one-on-ones. He was winning those battles, but he was playing linebacker, especially during the scrimmage portion. So it was taking him a while to recognize plays because it's a little bit different.
The eyes are different.
You're reading things as a defensive
Right.
end. And when you're a linebacker, you're seeing completely different things. You have to look at the wide receiver. You have to pay attention to the tight end.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pay attention to those running backs
Very
that are
different
sneaking out of the
keys.
backfield. It could be too much at times. So that was one of the guys. Another guy from Illinois, Carroll Phillips, another guy that caught my eye. This guy's probably a mid-round pick, fourth round guy, I would say at this point. Also, another guy making the transition from defensive end to linebacker. He's a pass rusher, a disruptive guy, and he made his living by being disruptive in college. But another guy that had to learn the coverage things a little bit because it didn't look like he was as fluid as Reddick was. So all those three guys did a good job because they were learning a new position, but I thought Reddick really stood out because of how natural he looked, like he's been playing there for the last 4 years.
Let's talk quarterbacks because apparently there's a big determination on the NFL to make Cal quarterbacks good. Davis Webb was a guy who I think stood out a little bit from some guys because of his size and his live arm. And then on the other end of that spectrum, a guy who I don't really think is draftable, and maybe you do, a guy we saw a lot play down here in the South, Joshua Dobbs. I don't really see him and didn't see him do much last week at practice that would convince me that he is some sort of NFL-type quarterback.
I agree with you. I think Dobbs is a late-round pick, and you could be intrigued by his physical tools because you see the arm,
Mm-hmm.
you see his running ability, but he never put it together at Tennessee. I think you expected a little bit more from a guy that started, what did he start, for like 3 years at Tennessee?
Absolutely.
You expected him to take his game to another level as a senior, and he was still making bad decisions, and he was still inaccurate in the intermediate areas, and it kind of, you watch the games at times, and you watch the film, and you kind of scratching your head a little bit. That's not what you would expect from a guy that had over 30 starts during his career. As far as Davis Webb goes, look, he's got the arm, he's got the size, and that's always going to intrigue NFL people. And sometimes, he throws a pretty deep ball, he has a good touch, but it's his decision-making that really drives me crazy at times. He had a good year at Cal, but I just think the decision-making
but that offense, right?
From game to game, yeah, and especially that offense. You're coming from that wide-open offense.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be able to take snaps from under center. He needs to work on his footwork, and that was quite evident during the practice session.
Right.
The one guy that really caught my eye, and I think he's a guy that he played also, started his career at Tennessee, lost the starting job to Joshua Dobbs, and transferred to Pitt, and where he started for the last 2 years. That's Nathan Peterman.
Mm-hmm.
He was a guy that caught my eye before I got there, and he was clearly the best, in my opinion, the best signal caller at the Senior Bowl, especially during the first 2 days. I just feel like this guy doesn't have a big arm. He doesn't have the size. He's only about 6'2", 225 pounds. This isn't Davis Webb out there. He's not going to wow people with his physical tools, but he throws with anticipation. He comes from a pro-style offense. He has good footwork. He just understands coverages. He's accurate. Decision-making was something that worried me a little bit when I turned on the tape, but I like the fact that he works through those progressions. He makes good decisions, especially at the Senior Bowl. He was making good decisions. So, in my opinion, there's some upside there. He's probably going to be, he might not even he might never win a starting job. He's probably going to be a backup. But in my opinion, he was clearly the best quarterback there, and there's something to work with. And in my opinion, like I said, the physical tools might not be as enticing as Davis Webb or Joshua Dobbs, but I think Peterman is a more complete quarterback at this point. Might not have the upside of those two guys, but could carve out a very good career in the NFL. And you never know. These guys start. I heard the comparison. A couple of other guys made the comparison. They said Kirk Cousins. I get it. Because when Kirk Cousins was coming out of Michigan State, he also had those question marks with his decision-making, his accuracy, and, he had a bigger arm coming out. But I see the comparison a little bit when Cousins was coming out of Michigan State. So who knows? Maybe he can become that quarterback. But I wouldn't have a problem drafting him in the 4th, 5th round and taking a chance on a guy like that.
Absolutely. A couple minutes away from two-time Super Bowl champion Bobby Hamilton with the New England Patriots. But right now, talking with Alex Khvatov of NFLDraftBlitz.com. Make sure you guys are following him on Twitter at NFLDraftBlitz, and definitely check out the website, NFLDraftBlitz.com. is where I go for a lot of my information. You know where else I go, Alex? I go to NFL Draft Breakdown, where they have the cut-ups of it's the TV copy, but you can watch a kid's entire game in 20 minutes. So I go there just in case it's a kid that I haven't seen all week or all year long. I get to sit down, boom, 20 minutes. I see his game against Pitt or against whoever the best competition I think is, and I get to knock it out. So those are two resources for you guys, NFLDraftBlitz.com and, of course, NFL Draft Breakdown. This safety class, you talked to me about the safety class last year, and Mike Mayock seemed to be very, very impressed with them during the week last week as well. Did anybody new stand out to you?
I thought the kid from UConn had a huge week. I always mess up his last name, so I'm not about to go there. To be honest with you, I messed it up on one of the radio spots earlier in the week, and I'm just going to say the UConn kid intrigues me, and I think he has intrigued a lot of people here because look, he's about 6'4", 220 pounds. He's got great lateral quickness. He changes directions very fluidly for a guy that big, and that's why many people say oh, that's Cam Chancellor. He's that big. He's physical. He's got the range. He's got the athleticism. He's got the speed. And I think he's going to continue to ascend towards those draft boards. He had a good week at the Senior Bowl. He's going to test really well at the scouting combine. So expect for this kid to continue to make that rise up the draft boards, because I thought that was one of the guys that really played up to his potential.
Shout out to UConn. UConn's been doing some work up there the last couple of years. The DBs have been the Dallas Cowboys got a kid out of UConn a couple of years ago, did very well, like jumped out of the gym at the combine. So it seems like good things are going on up there in Connecticut. The tight ends.
Yeah, they're doing some good things in the secondary. They're doing some good things in the secondary there. They've been coaching them up.
Absolutely. Those tight ends, we talked about them last week as well. O.J. Howard, a lot of people probably didn't expect him to show up because, of course, he's played a lot of football too, the same way Deshaun Watson has, but he felt as though he had some things to prove at practice as far as his inline blocking went to make sure that he would be looked upon as a complete tight end, because there were some guys there who were like the what's the kid's name out of Florida that plays in Washington now? The tight end.
Florida out of Washington?
Yeah, the kid that plays in Washington with the Redskins, the tight end.
Jordan Reed.
Jordan Reed. A lot of kids were actually being compared to him, more of a slender type tight end, a pass catching tight end. But then there was this kid, Gerald Everett, kid that transferred because, of course, the UAB program ended. And then he ended up going to South Alabama, and I heard his name, and I read his name as well, being compared to O.J. Howard, and pretty much closing that gap and being a comparable. Did you see that same type of thing out of Everett, Gerald Everett?
I think the size will hurt him. I mean, Jordan Reed was not a first-round prospect.
Mm-hmm.
I do expect O.J. Howard to be a first-round guy.
Okay.
He's going to be a top 15, top 20 pick. I think everyone expects that. I just never thought that he was underutilized at Alabama. He's got everything, but there's something missing. You know, he's a good kid, but there's just something missing. Would I be willing to draft O.J. Howard with the top 15 pick when I can get another good player? Probably not, especially with the deep tight end class that we talked about last week and this one. I would much rather pick up a tight end in the third, fourth round. Gerald Everett, he's not in the same league, but the Jordan Reed type of player, I mean, he has paved the way for Gerald Everett. This guy wouldn't even be drafted like 5 years ago. But that's not the case anymore. It isn't, because, I mean, you're putting 4 or 5 wide receivers out there. You have tight ends split out in the slot. You don't have to block anymore.
Absolutely.
He's going to stretch the field up the seam. He's got good speed. He's got good hands. He's a pretty good route runner. He's quick in and out of his breaks. He looks like a wide receiver trapped in a bigger body a little bit. The biggest thing with me is he has really small hands. I think he measured in with like 8.5 hands. Oh. Look, I'm not a big hand size guy, but for a tight end, I mean, you have to have bigger mitts than that. And I thought that's probably the biggest thing that kind of threw me off. He had a couple of drops out there, and I think he's really fighting the ball at times. But the game wasn't too big for him. He had a nice week. I just think he's going to be more of a third, fourth round pick. I think there are a couple of names to watch out for, like Jake Butt from Michigan, who's coming off an injury. Jordan Leggett from Clemson. He's a good player. Bucky Hodges from Virginia Tech. I think this guy's going to test well at the combine. I expect his name to, again, get drafted a lot higher than what you would expect. Another guy that was underutilized at Virginia Tech out there. So this is an incredibly deep tight end class. And that's why I'm saying that if O.J. Howard is not a once-in-a-lifetime type of tight end, I mean, this guy's not going to change the game for me, in my opinion. He's always going to be that other guy, that third, fourth target. And that's why I think that, teams should pass on O.J. Howard and go pick up a tight end later on in the draft, because, like I said, this is an incredibly deep tight end group, something that we haven't seen in years.
I love it. Name after name after name. See, what I do sometimes, Alex, I go back and I listen again because of the names that you drop. So then those are the guys that I trust you to be the guy who gives me the names that I could go then look up and read on, and then I become more educated. So yeah, the more names you can give me, man, that's all good. Speaking of being too big for the game or not being too big for the game, Donnell Pumphrey, a guy who all year long I heard about this guy. Of course, playing in San Diego State, me being in the South, only got a chance to see him play in the bowl game. And then I saw him play, and the story was his size. And I'm looking at this kid like I'm hearing about this kid leading the nation in rushing, and he's going to break this record and that record. So I'm thinking of a running back, not 170 pounds. Did he take part in any of the wide receiver drills? Because he can't play running back in the National Football, even a third down back at 170 pounds. No way.
I think he's going to make his money catching the ball out of the backfield. He did split out as a wide receiver in the slot, but only coming out of the backfield. No, he didn't take any part in the wide receiver drills because that's not his game. But he's going to make his money as a kick returner, as a punt returner.
Okay.
That's where he's going to make a name for himself.
Like a Dante Hall type kid.
This kid is not going to, this guy is not going to become a star running back. I'm confident in saying that after watching his film. I think he's going to be a specialist in the league, and that's where he's going to have to make his money. But he definitely needs to bulk up. I mean, for a guy that has taken a beating at the running back position at San Diego State,
right?
I barely noticed him at practice. Let's just say that. He didn't make many plays. He didn't stand out, and I think that's something that I expected because this is the big leagues now.
Absolutely. The last thing I got for you, and always, Alex, I appreciate your time. Who are some guys? Because the next time we talk is probably going to be around Combine time. Who are some guys that I need to be watching for at the Combine, or maybe even watching out for? Some guys that may trick me, that may run fast and lift a lot and jump very high, but because I'm not a guy who's privy to the tape, I may should look at them with a little bit more skepticism than other guys.
Well, I think we talked about him. I think O.J. Howard is going to blow up the Combine.
O.J. Howard.
Again, great size. He's going to run a fast time. He's going to jump really high. But I just don't think the tape matches up to his physical tools. I think we see that every year. But you're going to hear like Vernon Davis comparison.
Wow.
You will.
I remember
Vernon
that Combine,
Davis,
too. I remember that one very well.
Up the Combine. Look, Howard might not be as fast, but like I said, he's going to have a very successful Combine. And that's why I think after the Combine, people will say, oh, he's a good kid. This kid played in Alabama for 4 years. Nick Saban produces NFL people, guys that go to the NFL and have success. And so I think that's why people are going to push him. And we might hear like top 10 pick for O.J. Howard. So I think that's one of the guys that's really going to stand out and do well at the Combine. But I want to give a quick shout out.
Go ahead.
I think the two wide receivers during the Senior Bowl, Cooper Kupp from Eastern Washington, really showed that he can compete at this level. He is a slot receiver. I hate to make comparisons, but I think he's very similar to Jordy Nelson when he was coming out of Kansas State.
Okay.
Not the player that he is now, but when he was coming out of college, I think Cooper Kupp is a very similar player, and he's a solid second-round pick. And Zay Jones, his father played for the Cowboys, Robert Jones. He was a three-time Super Bowl winner at the linebacker position for the Cowboys. His brother came out last year, Caleb Jones, out of Arizona. Didn't do much. Zay Jones broke the Division I FBS record for receptions, for all-time receptions during his career. This kid has got game. He's explosive. He's got great hands. I think the sky is the limit. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this kid because they say, oh, he's from East Carolina. He's not from Alabama or Clemson.
Right.
But this guy's going to be a third-round pick, but I thought he won this week. He made himself some money. So Zay Jones and Cooper Kupp, I want to give a shout-out to those two guys.
I don't know about everybody else, but I certainly am smarter than I was when I started this interview. So, Alex, once again, I appreciate you, man, and we'll talk down the road, my man.
Enjoy the Super Bowl, Mike.
Will do. Thank you, man. That's Alex Khvatov of NFLDraftBlitz.com. Make sure you guys are following him once again on Twitter at NFL Draft Blitz. It's where I go, man, to get my draft information. He's a guy who, as you can hear him, he's in Mobile now. You know what I mean? So he's traveling with the circus, for lack of a better term, and he comes with the good stuff every time I talk to him. I know I said the next time I talk to him might be around the Combine, but we're gonna have to probably talk before that because we'll get some news on guys who are falling or ascending in drafts and things, or in mock drafts, I should say. So we'll probably have him on in between now and the beginning of March. Well, that ain't too far away, so we'll kind of play it by ear. But speaking of having people on, coming up here in just a few minutes, I got my guy Bobby Hamilton decided that he wanted to take part in this ridiculous show. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion with the Patriots. He played in the game he played in the Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction game, and in the game against the greatest show on turf. So we'll talk to him about a bunch of stuff, about his time with the Patriots, leaving the Patriots, because that seems to be the thing. If you're with the Patriots, eventually you'll be asked to leave the Patriots as well. So we'll talk to him about that, as well as his personal story. He's got this, man, he caught up with a whole side of his family after, I guess the word is, being estranged from them for almost 30 years. And he caught up with them, get this, at the Super Bowl. Not at the Super Bowl, but during the time of the Super Bowl, the last time that they were in Houston when they played. I think that was the one with Janet Jackson's breasticle. I think that's the same one. So yeah, we'll talk to Bobby Hamilton coming up next. Appreciate you, Alex Khvatov of NFLDraftBlitz.com. We'll do it on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app. Also, I'm here, man. Tune in. I think the TuneIn app. Somebody can check that for me. And also on One Mic with BigMike.com. Shout out to my man Big L. He's in the chat room. You guys can join him in there if you like by clicking that little thought bubble icon you see on the streaming player. It'll get you up in there. You can also leave comments. Big L's left comments below the live streaming video. I see you, homie. As well, if you're watching on Facebook Live, Facebook.com/1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. And don't forget to head on over to Twitter. Put in hashtag, put it on the poll. You can answer our poll questions, my poll questions for today. Let me know what your thoughts are on all of those. I'll give you guys the results of those probably sometime in the next hour or so. But until then, I shall be back.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm gonna keep ticking, but no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart and don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. For help keeping yours at a healthy range, text PRESSURE to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
One Mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One Mic with Big Mike.
Ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One Mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah I Banged Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Hell yeah, it is a hump day right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Heard live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com. Make sure you head on over to Spreaker. Sign up for your free Spreaker account. It's just like signing up for anything else, like signing up for Facebook or Twitter and all those things. What's going on here? Facebook or Twitter, it's free. Also, make sure you guys follow my show, One Mic with Big Mike, on Spreaker. That way, when the show goes live, you get an announcement or alert letting you know the show is ready to rock. Also, keep saying also, I know. Make sure you guys are following me on Twitter and Instagram at One Mic with Big Mike. My hashtag, put it on the poll, POLL questions are up for you and yours to take part in. What else do I need to make sure I tell you guys? The Facebook live stream is going on right now. Facebook.com/1 MICWITHBIG It'll also be available later on at some point on YouTube. All my shows are available on demand if you don't get a chance to hear them in their entirety. You guys can also check them out on the 4 platforms that I've already mentioned, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube. Right now, we're waiting on the homie Bobby Hamilton to hit us up or to hit me up so we can get this interview underway. In the meantime, in between time, though, don't forget it's also Woman Crush Wednesday. You guys can head on over to the old Facebook, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram as well, and check out the Woman Crush Wednesday for today. Before we get Bobby on, I was talking about this whole situation with LeBron and your man Charles Barkley. A lot of you dudes love, some Charles Barkley, think he's keeping it real or whatever. But in all reality, it ain't really popping off like that. All right, so phone just rung. You guys didn't hear it, but I heard it. Phone just rung. So it's time to get this thing popping. Want to welcome into the show right now. Two-time, like Booker T. Super Bowl champion from the New England Patriots. This guy's name is Bobby Hamilton. Yeah.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing today?
Hey, man, I can't call it. It's only one of me. I know the name is Big Mike. I'm not that big. It's only one of me, Bobby. So.
My bad, Mike. Big Mike. What's going on, Big Mike? My bad.
It's all good, brother. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing fine, man. Just getting ready to come down there in Houston, get ready for the Super Bowl.
No doubt, man. By the way, happy anniversary to you. Like, today is the day, right? The Adam Vinatieri kick was today, all those years ago, man. So shout out to you, man. Shout out to your teammates. Happy anniversary to you. How y'all celebrating that thing tonight?
Man, it feels like it's going to be a great feeling, man. If you sit back and think about it, man, it seems like it was just yesterday, though, man, when Super Bowl 38. And it's just a blessing that these guys coming back down there again and try to get another W in the Super Bowl. I know it's a very exciting for all the guys on the team, coming back. I know a lot of guys talking about they come back to Houston because that Super Bowl right there was a great feeling. We played against a good team like Carolina.
Yeah.
They came in there very excited, and it was very exciting. Then now the time is going so fast right now, and you don't realize that the Super Bowl is again in Houston, Texas. And you got New England and one versus Atlanta Falcons. It's a great challenge.
Absolutely. Hey, let me ask you something, man. I was talking about this before you got on. When you play for the Patriots, I think the one thing that's guaranteed is at some point you won't play for the Patriots. Like, at some point they're gonna figure out that somebody younger than you or somebody better than you can do your job cheaper. How did things end for you as a New England Patriot? Because I know you went from the Jets. Belichick brought you when he came from the Jets. You came with him to the Patriots, but at a certain time, after a couple of years, you moved on. How did things end for you?
Well, at that time, man, you got to think about. I think I was like 35, 36 at that time.
Really, you that old?
We had just at that time, and we just got through. We won the Super Bowl against the Rams, and next thing you know, we didn't go to the Super Bowl, the playoff the next year. Because injury and stuff. Then unfortunately we went back again in Super Bowl 38. Nobody never know what the future gonna hold. At the moment, I was a free agent. At the moment, my deal was up at New England, and I know that they did drop a kid named Taiwan come in. You just had Richard Seymour just been there for like 2 years and coming in, and sometimes you got to just understand the business. If you don't understand the business and see your surroundings, it's a long story. But at the time, we just won the Super Bowl. When we won the Super Bowl 38, everything was up, so I had a chance to go in on the market, and then I ended up signing with the Oakland Raiders. But you got to look at everything, Big Mike. You got to look at it. It's just a business.
Yeah.
You got to know when your time is up. You got to look at your surroundings. Now, I could have sit there and try to come back, but we didn't know how they were going to hold up. They're going to go back to the Super Bowl the next year to win Super Bowl 39 and begin it. But, at the time, I just won the Super Bowl. I'm at that age of 36, and I wanted some more money. So I went out there and found a team who want me, and it was Oakland Raiders. Damn
right. I ain't mad at that. The other voice that you're hearing is my man Bobby Hamilton, 2-time Super Bowl champion with the Patriots. He's down there in Houston getting it up, man, a 13-year NFL vet. You were there, man, in the early Brady years. And now here we are, man, all these years later. and that dude is still busting people's ass, man. Like, when you were there, could you have ever envisioned that guy being this guy in 2017?
I remember when Belichick first came to New England. You know, he was there for Erder's career when they went to the Super Bowl against the Green Bay.
Right.
They lost to Green Bay. And I know when he came in 2000 when they drafted Tom Brady. And I remember in the locker room, Tom Brady told Mr. Kraft that, you know, you're going to be happy about picking me in the draft and stuff like that. But I could see Tom Brady on the football, and you could see this work after that. This guy is all about business because, you know, I'd like to, when I came in the league in 94, I came as a free agent, hard working too. And I saw how Tom Brady was the first one in the building, you know, in the morning, the last one to leave. You know, he just wanted to prove a point. I always want to play with a chip on his shoulder. And I knew right then that Belichick had something special right there. And a lot of boys in the locker room and around know that Tom Brady was special right then because the way he carried himself and all the odds against him to make it in the Super Bowl. I mean, the player on the team and stuff. So, you know, I know he had it in him. And now, you know, like the situation in 2001 when Drew went down, in that injury and Tom got a chance, and that's it.
Yeah.
History made right now.
Absolutely. The rest is history, as they say. Let's talk about your former coach. Let's talk about Bill Belichick. You mentioned him just now. I'm on my shows that I've done, this one and other shows on the radio, I've been critical of him, not the coach that he is, but I think a lot of that stuff that he puts on, like that persona, is a little bit of a fake. Like, who is Bill Belichick that we don't get to see? Because all this stuff about, like, I don't know about snap face and face chat, and like, dude, you know exactly what those things are and what they're called, dude. Tell us what happens. Like, pull the curtain back for us a little bit, Bobby.
But, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. I know Belichick for, you know, he was the head coach in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was the head coach in Cleveland and stuff. So I had a chance to, I had a chance to him to coach me when I was at the New York Jets. I know you already said that about the story. But I know what type of guy Belichick on the field and off the field. I know what type of guy he was. And so that's why one of the reasons when I was a free agent, I came with him in New England. And the guy, man, you know, 100%, he's all about business. Big Mike. I'm just going to tell you the truth. It's all about X's and O's. And, you know, when he comes in there and when he walks in that building, it's all about, you know, that favorite quote they always said, do your job. That's what it's all about. He wants you to be prepared every week to do your job. You know, sometimes he'll let the wall down to joke with you and have fun with you.
Give me something there. Give me something there, Bobby. Give me a time where Bill Belichick has kind of let his hair down and kind of, you know, surprisingly made people laugh, or a story of levity with Bill Belichick. Give me a human story.
It's probably not as funny to y'all, but, you know, Belichick is the type of coach of this here. You might hear Jermaine Wiggins. He's on the radio a lot in Boston. And, you know, he's from East Boston.
All right.
So one day we were around in the locker room, sitting around and stuff. And one day, you know, Dwayne Wiggins, I was talking about how he was good in basketball and how he would dominate on the football field in high school. So we didn't know Belichick heard how Dwayne was talking about this stuff. But one day we was in the meeting, and all of a sudden, Belichick said, I got a film I want y'all to watch. And I want y'all to judge this and tell me what y'all think about this.
Oh, no.
And next thing you know, Big Mike, just who it was.
His basketball tape.
He put out a tape of Jermaine Wiggins playing basketball in high school. He said, now look at this guy. Now look how big he over these kids. He was showing how he played quarterback in the football, the biggest thing. And then, you know, that was some of the things that he brought to the team.
Gotcha.
And, you know, everybody talks about that. He jokes a lot. But when you come in that building, this football season, Big Mike, it's all about business. And he'll tell you, it's all to do your job. That's why they got that favorite quote: "Do your job first." And that's what it's all about.
The other voice that you're hearing is Bobby Hamilton, former New England Patriot, two-time Super Bowl champion with the Patriots. He decided to join this ridiculous show tonight, and I definitely appreciate him for doing it. The way society is going right now, there's a lot of things going on in the world, in the country right now, and the Patriots are a part of that story as far as it relates to sports. And what I mean is, like, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and Robert Kraft are personal friends of Donald Trump. Does something like that play any in the locker room with the players?
Well, you know, Big Mike, I can't answer that because I'm not playing right now. And I'm not in the locker room. I can't. I don't know what they.
But for you, if you were in the locker room and you're a coach and you're owner.
Like I said, man, it's two sides of everything.
Gotcha.
Everybody blowing it up, talking about his friend. We could sit here, Tom Brady, because Donald Trump said Tom Brady his friend. Y'all got to think about it. It's 2017. Tom Brady met Donald Trump way back in the day, like when he first got in the league. So I'm not the point of fingers. We got to stop. I don't know what kind of relationship they have, but we don't blow that up. They friends because he's the president right now. We don't know what type of relationship they have. We don't know what they base that they talking about. And I don't get involved with all that. I know for a fact that when you walk in that building, it's all about doing your job, Big Mike. All your personal stuff. We don't really get in caught in. That's one thing about the Patriots. We never get caught up with people really personal life like that.
Got you. As a former Patriot, what kind of feeling, especially somebody who has two of those rings, when you hear people talking about asterisks, when you hear people talk about the Tuck rule and Spygate and Deflategate and all that kind of stuff, like what kind of feelings go through you when you hear that kind of talk about teams that you played on, that you bled for, you sweated for, you worked your ass off for? You hear people use those type of terms to kind of deflate some of the accomplishments. How do you feel about that?
Only thing I feel about this, Big Mike, when you think about it, think about the last 17 years. I don't think no other team have done what New England Patriots have done in the last 17 years. And everybody gonna find some kind of excuse about a team how they win. The Tuck rule, the Spygate. I was there when they came out with this Spygate. To this day, I don't even know what they talking about. I don't even know the word they talk about. About the flake football. I was at the AFC Championship game when they played Indianapolis Colts. I still don't know what they talking about because I always thought about the referee. It was raining. It was raining at that game. The referee holding the ball in his hand, so he couldn't tell the difference. Right. So it's all these things about the Patriots. All they do is do their job and they just go out there and play, man. That's how I look at it. We just go out there and play. We got good. We got to start from the top. Mr. Kraft. He brought a coach in that he wants to build a foundation with, and that's what they've been doing for the last 16 years, and that's all they've been doing is winning. And, if you don't like it, like you said, like that song, if you ain't got no haters, that means you're not doing nothing. You got haters, that means you're doing something good.
Well, man.
That's how I look at it.
And before the show started, I put on social media, I was like, how many people would take their team, their personal team, with a bunch of controversy, but also a bunch of rings? Yeah, everybody. See, it only matters when it's the other people's team. They only cheated when it's somebody else's team. But if it's your team that people say was spying and people say was deflating footballs, but they got all them rings, shut up. It don't matter. You know what I mean? So it's one of those fan hypocrisies. I want to talk to you about your personal story because when I was reading about you, I was like, damn, is this true? Like, how is this is wild as hell. Like, when you were young, well, first of all, let's kind of give the people some background. When you were young, your dad passed when you were very young. And I wanted to ask you how that fueled you throughout your life. You mentioned being an undrafted free agent, but still pulling out a Super Bowl winning career, over a decade in the NFL. Your dad passing when you were young, like, how did that affect you throughout life?
Well, let's go back then, I ain't never really talk about it. My dad tried out with the Denver Broncos back in the day. So at that time, my dad moved up. My mom and my dad moved to Mississippi. And my dad is originally from Houston, Texas. And my dad and my mom's brother was best friends. They went to college together.
Gotcha.
So that's how my mom and my dad got together. So my dad went to Denver Broncos, tried out, got hurt. So what happened, when he went to Houston, he was about to get ready to move us down there, Big Mike, but we never got a chance. 2 weeks before Christmas, we got a phone call, somebody murdered my dad. And, it was rough at the time. It was rough at the time, man, because at the time, I was a young man. I always look up to my dad. I always idolize my dad. I want to be like my dad. And I never thought, why this person took my dad from this earth, leaving my mom with 5 boys. And I tell, I go around and talk to kids. At the time, people don't think about this. My mom had 5 boys at the age of 33 years old.
Wow.
And you got to think about it. That's a lot of pressure. But and that's why I always tell people, I look up to my mom and my parents because my mom never brought another man in the house to take care of us. She did everything, As going back to my dad, and that was my biggest role model, my dad. And I always want to outline my dad and be in his role. And all through my life, coming up, and Big Mike, when I was young, I used to be terrified, man. I didn't care. I didn't care about nothing. I was all in some kind of trouble. Till my granddad and my uncle sit me down one day. And and they taught me, and they told me, say, hey, if your dad was still here, you think he'd be liking what you're doing right now?
Wow.
You won't be doing none of this. And so all of a sudden, my uncle went to play off with Alcorn State. That's the year, if you ever go back into history, they had like a sellout when Jerry Rice was in school. Jerry Rice versus Alcorn, over 80,000 students.
Over at Mississippi State. Yeah.
Yeah, Mississippi State. So Mississippi Valley State. So my uncle was the linebacker in that, for Alcorn. He sit down. He said, man, take your first bat on the football field. And Big Mike, you know how the water boy back in the day?
Yeah.
I was a water boy back then.
Just hitting everybody?
First straight out of the football. Hitting everybody. And then right there, I planted a seed right there. And, I wasn't the biggest. I wasn't the fastest. But I had a work ethic that I know that I told my mom one day I'm going to do my best to get in the NFL.
Say that.
And next day, it's paid off, Every year when I went to college, every year I moved up to a different level, Big Mike. I always hurt my knee. From elementary to high school, from high school to college, from college to pro. And I always hurt my knee, and I don't know why. I think it was the reason why God just told me to sit back and learn the game. And that's one of the gifts I had took from that. And, when I went to college, I was a linebacker, and they moved me to defense end. And all of a sudden, I ended up playing starting 2 years, and all these schools, and I didn't get a chance. Just want an opportunity to get in the league. And Seattle gave me a chance in 1994. And next thing you know, I got hurt. And then Seattle sent me to the World League. And when I came back, in 96, that's what, like a week before camp, that's when New York Jets picked me up. And then the history's told right there, Big Mike.
There it is.
And I look over all the stuff. Wasn't being with my role model like my mom and my grandfather and my uncle, and surrounding yourself with positive people, I wouldn't be here today talking to you. I'd probably be in jail. I did, Big Mike, and I'm not going to tell them story about that.
I know that story too well, my brother. I know the same story, my man. He's Bobby Hamilton, a two-time world champion with the New England Patriots, joining the One Mike with Big Mike show today. Moving on from there, though, because that kind of jumped something else off too. Once you didn't end up moving to Houston, you end up being estranged from a large portion of your family, your dad's side of the family. And the wild thing was that where you're at right now in Houston, you were able to reunite with your dad's side of the family, but you did it on Super Bowl, during the time of the Super Bowl. Like, how, my man, how did you juggle that? Because, we hear all those stories about, as soon as you get successful, all these family members that you don't know is going to come out the woodwork. But this is different than that. They didn't just come out the woodwork. You just kind of lost touch with them. And then at the Super Bowl happened to be the time where you guys reunited. Like, give us a little walk down memory lane with that, and how you were able to juggle those two things. Meeting up with your family after a couple of decades and playing in the biggest ball game of your entire life.
Well, at that moment, it was a guy named Steve Nail from New York Jets. As I was the Jets, he the one called me and told me I got a surprise for you.
Word.
And I was like, what kind of surprise you have for me? And I'm getting ready for the big game. He the one told me, man, I found your uncle. I said, your uncle, because, I was looking for him when I was with the New York Jets.
Yeah.
And at that time, he the one that told me, told me about my family. He found, because we've been looking for him.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how God's work, Big Mike, he had to work the week of the Super Bowl.
Wow.
That I found my grandparents. And I never saw him since my dad died when I was 9 years old, because we lost in touch. I don't know how we lost in touch. I'm not going to get out there, but I found him that week, and it was very exciting. But I tell you one thing for that week. Billy Chick said you wasn't going to take no cameras and no news people over there. You was going to because he didn't want to send out that. I tell you that, Big Mike. So it was a blessing, man. It was one of the things that, Houston, Texas, getting ready for the biggest game of my career,
right.
For Super Bowl 38. And then when you saw that 2 nights, your grandmother, 2-3 nights before the game.
Wow.
It brings you so much energy in your heart that you want to go out and play so hard because you found out your other side of your family, and that's the chapter that you always want to close to found it, and it happened at the right moment at the
what's up.
Super Bowl, and then we ended up with a victory, and we celebrate, and that was kind of that chapter. But it was a great feeling, a great blessing, and I wouldn't change it for nothing. I'm just glad that it happened at the time because you never know what happened. Like I left the jet. The next day, Steve Nails, he was a security guard, work at this New York. He the one called me up and told me about it.
Wow.
He didn't have to do that, but I know, some people are saying, oh, he tried to distract you and da-da. Nah, he just tried to just close that chapter. He know I've been looking for him for a long time.
Right. That's good stuff. Other than that, other than reuniting with your family, like what are your most profound memories from those two Super Bowls? Because like most of us will never ever experience that, dude, and you did it twice. You know what I mean? So, give me a taste of your most vibrant memory from those two games.
The first Super Bowl, you probably don't remember the second quarter coming out. I'm gonna put it like this here.
This the Carolina one, right? This.
No, the first Super Bowl was against the St. Louis.
Okay, the Rams game.
I remember when we was in the locker room, and you know how they talking about who they gonna call out as a team, offense and defense, and they said the defense starter's gonna come out.
And everybody came out together.
Right then, and then right there, that moment right there, I don't care about nothing. The moment that we know we had a family, and he's the defensive line coach right now for the Atlanta Falcons. Is Brian
Cox? No doubt.
Brian Cox. And you got the Lawyer Malloy, Tyler Law, William McGinnis, all them guys came and said, hey, man, we've been doing this the whole year as a team. We're going to go out as a team. We're going to introduce as a team. And that's right then, start that foundation right there. And we came out, and that's one of the biggest moments right there in that Super Bowl right there. In Super Bowl 36, as we know, that's part of the foundation of the New England Patriots right now.
No doubt,
so
man.
So that was one of the moments, I could tell another moment I had when I got my first Super Bowl sack that Kurt won in like two in the second quarter. And, I in practice, Big Mike, I was mixing that same play over and over. That boot with Kurt Warner always do. I missed. Belichick was staying on me. And I know I finally got it right in the game. And that one is another moment in the Super Bowl, too. And number 38, in Super Bowl 38, when we played against Carolina, Big Mike, I'm going to tell you the truth. That stuff is so blurry right now. I can't tell you nothing about that Super Bowl. Only thing I know, when the field ball, when the kickoff, when the score was tied up, 36-36, I think 36-36. When the kicker kicked that ball out of bounds and he went out at the 40-yard line with a minute and 20-something seconds. Everybody on the bench jumped up and said, "Oh no, y'all done missed something now."
Yep.
Tom Brady got the ball. That's what I remember that game, Super Bowl.
Speaking of that,
great memories right there.
Speaking of that game, and by the way, I'm talking to Bobby Hamilton. It's a two-time Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots. Speaking of that game, how soon after the game was over did you find out what happened with Janet Jackson? Because I missed it too. I was hosting a party here in Atlanta, and it happened, and I didn't know what happened until later. Like, how long after did you find out what happened with Janet Jackson?
Time when you know how you win and everybody doing all the celebrating. And you go through it. Hey, did you hear about Janet Jackson?
Immediately.
You need to watch that immediately. That's the big thing. Man, we just won the Super Bowl. They asked us questions about Janet Jackson. But I saw the pictures though.
Oh yeah, I did too. Later on, I saw the pictures, my man. Appreciate you joining me, man. Last thing I got for you, man, I ask all the former athletes, former NFL guys to come on the show. I always ask them, man. I always ask about your health and how you doing. All this stuff that we're hearing coming out about former athletes and the things that you guys go through with your bodies and everything. One day I was talking to Reuben Drones from the Browns and the Broncos and the Giants, and he told me, man, that he had his biggest fear was turning 40. And he's like 39. He's like my same age. And that kind of struck a chord with me. So now every time I talk to you guys, man, I always want to ask you, man, how your health doing, man? How you feeling, in your body and your mind and all those things?
Well, right now, Big thing, you can everybody know, I always try to take care of my body, Big Mike.
Okay.
I don't eat no meat.
Wow.
I don't eat no pork, beef, or chicken. I just eat vegetables. Every once in a while, I eat a piece of fish. That's
Hold on,
man.
how you from Mississippi and you don't eat no meat? Hold on, how does that work?
Man, I just stopped about a year and a half, man. When I started fasting for the church for 21 days, I just stayed with it, man. I started feeling good about myself. But I started going to the chiropractor. I went and got me a hot tub in my house, got a massage chair. As a matter of fact, I just ordered me one of them beds to hang you upside down.
Okay.
Try to stretch your joints out. I ordered one of them, and just try to just I do some stuff at the school with they talk about the concussion and stuff. I work at Coach Lynn High School football at Atlanta Falcons High School, and I try to keep myself active with the young kids and the young youth, with them to keep my brain straight, function and stuff. And that's all, and just try to eat right. That's it.
My man. Hey, man, I enjoyed it, man. I hope you did, too, a little bit, but I did, man. I appreciate you taking the time out and joining me, man. And be safe tonight, man. Go out, have a good time, Enjoy your anniversary, your Super Bowl anniversary, but, do it up a little bit down there in Houston for me, man.
All right. Thanks, Big Mike, for having me on here. Thank you very much.
You got it, brother. Yeah, man, that's wild stuff, man. My man, Super Bowl, found out that his family that he was estranged from came back on the scene. Man, they didn't come back on the scene. He was looking for him because he was 9 years old. His pops passed away. Yeah, when I read that, I was like, God. And you can see, man, like he sound like a Mississippi dude, man. Like I know dudes from Mississippi. He sound like a happy, just, you know what I mean? Like life is good type guy, man. Like I'm sitting there smiling, talking about it, man. Hopefully, man, we can talk to Bobby some more down the road, man. I like interviews that, bring a little bit of personality, got some stories about, some things that we don't necessarily get to hear about, man. Bill Belichick and those type of things in his days with the Patriots. His personal struggles, losing his dad young. He's like 9 years old. That's got to kind of be crazy. And I even know the part about, his mom, man. His mom's like 35, and she got like 5 kids, boys, 5 rambunctious boys, you know what I mean? And having to deal with that. So shout out to mom, you know what I mean? Shout out to mama, man, for that. For holding that down straight up. But also, man, thank you. Thank you to Danielle who hooked that up for me, and my man Bobby Hamilton. So we'll come back. We'll take a break here, come back. We'll do On This Day. And don't forget, coming up, we're going to do a simulcast. It's going to be me and the ladies from Girl Chat Sports. A little bit of a threesome here on the old One Mic with Big Mike show. Get your mind out the gutter, too, by the way. Get your damn mind out the gutter. But we're going to do it next. We're going to talk about some sports. I guess they're going to probably ask me about the Falcons and the Super Bowl and do all that. Hey, sports radio stuff. I'm going to tell them who's going to win. Y'all know I don't do that. I don't know no more than y'all know. Hell, Belichick don't know, and Quinn don't know who the hell's going to win. How the hell my dumb ass know? So anyway, we'll do it next, right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm here. Spreaker.com. I'll also give you guys the updated hashtag put it on the poll brought to us by sportsnewsandbrews.com. The Twitter poll questions as well. I'm on Spreaker, the Spreaker app, TuneIn, and, of course, OneMicWithBigMike.com, the website. The show is also heard on demand on all of those platforms as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube, where you can catch the audio and the video. I'm streaming video right now on Facebook, by the way, facebook.com/1MICWIT. ITH. BIGMIKE. I'll be back, man.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
And now back to One Mic with Big Mike.
And here we go!
They know. Hello. Welcome back. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show here on Spreaker.com. I'm also on the Spreaker app. That's Spreaker. Head on over there and sign up for your free Spreaker accounts. We here, man. Hey, I'm also on TuneIn and OneMicWithBigMike.com. You see me keep looking up. I'm looking up at this Cavaliers game, man. They playing the Minnesota Timberwolves, man. I like watching these young Timberwolves play, especially now that they're starting to string together a couple of little wins here. And of course, I can only imagine what they're talking about in the broadcast. This thing with LeBron and Charles Barkley, even though the game is on ESPN tonight. The show is also available on demand on all the platforms I've already mentioned, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. I'm on Google Play Music and, of course, YouTube as well. Check out the live stream going on right now on Facebook, www.facebook.com. Why do you still say www? You probably shouldn't anymore because everybody knows it's just facebook.com/1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. Get involved in the show, man. Join this live interactive chat room. Just click that little thought bubble you see on the streaming player if you're listening via Spreaker or my website. Or you can text me at 404-902-8104. In a couple minutes here, I'm going to join the oh-so-fabulous, you can say fabulous when it's women, right? Girl Chat Sports podcast. Two wonderful young ladies doing their thing in this sports broadcasting industry. There's some misogynistic, male-dominated. They breaking through the glass ceiling. And I'm going to add a little touch of, I guess, testosterone to the show and some idiocy. I sure don't think they know what they're getting into. You know what I mean? Like today, Melissa texted me, like, I'm so excited. I was like, don't be excited about having me on the show. Temper those expectations because I'm built to let you down every single time. Anyway, man, it's that time of the show. We had to push it all the way back. Not in, back. Where we take a look back into the annals of sports. I call it On This Day.
Now, let's take a look back. On this day.
Oh, gotta start the damn music. All right, here we go. Quickly. Where is it? Did it disappear? Oh, here it is. On this day in 1913, Jim Thorpe, who many people believe is the best athlete of all time or at least the 20th century, he signed a contract to play baseball with the New York Giants. He won a bunch of gold medals. I think he got a couple of them back this year because they stripped him because he got a couple bucks, $25 from a minor league baseball team or something crazy like that. On this day in 1962 as well, the National League releases its first 162-game schedule. On this day in 1968, Vince Lombardi, the man who the trophy that the Patriots and the Falcons would be playing for on Sunday is named after. He resigned from coaching the Green Bay Packers in 1968. He didn't resign from coaching because he coached the Washington Redskins after that. And on this day in 1984, old David Stern became the NBA commissioner. On this day in 1995, John Stockton of the Utah Jazz became the NBA's career assist leader when he scored his 9,922nd assist to move past Irvin Magic Johnson. On this day in 2004, you just heard me talk to my man Bobby Hamilton about it. The New England Patriots won the NFL Super Bowl. This is 38. I only know this because he just said it. It's XXXVII. And Adam Vinatieri, he kicked the game-winning field goal with 4 seconds left. I think Deion Branch... Was Deion Branch the MVP of that Super Bowl? Anyway, on this day in 2012, finally, at least 79 people were killed and more than 1,000 injured after a football match in Port Saint Egypt. You can use that as your Black History Month fact, too. It's Egypt, so that counts. Shout out to Black History Month. Oh, man. I know y'all probably think I forgot, like, I'm a terrible African-American, but I don't do that. Like, to me... I'm gonna keep it real with you, man. I think Black History Month is antiquated. Like, I got the internet, B. Like, I want to know something about my history and my heritage. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna look for it immediately, not waiting until February. Like, all it's become to, especially since we're in America and capitalism rules, all Black History Month has become as another marketing ploy so McDonald's can put rap music and dancing black people, and Apple can put a hip hop dancing black dude on their commercial for their new earphones. That's all it's become, man. Like, if McDonald's want to prove to me they care about black people and black history and stuff, yeah, stop serving this McDonald's. You know what I mean? Like, stop marketing your McDonald's to black people. We're already predisposed to all, or predisposed, I guess is the word I'm trying to use, to all this heart condition, high blood pressure because of the stuff they fed the elders and the ancestors back in the day, hog maws and chitlins and pig feet and all this craziness. And man, back up, cuz. I don't need no Black History Month no more. I guess it's cool, but you got 28 days. Like, what is that? Giving me permission to learn about my heritage? Nah, I'm good. Like, I was watching stuff about the Black Panthers last month, learning things I didn't know. A couple weeks before that, I'm looking at 13th on Netflix. Like, I'm always trying to get, as they say, woke. Nah, not me. I'm always trying to, come up and figure stuff out, man, and figure out why things are the way they are, especially in a country in which we got an orange president now who don't give a damn about nobody but his rich buddies. You know what I mean? It's more important than ever to kind of like break away from those things that were given to us as permission. Well, okay, you guys can have Negro History Week. Well, we want a month. All right, give the Negroes a month. No, man, I don't need your permission, B. It's 2017. I don't need nobody's permission for none of this. Anyway, it's the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm waiting on the ladies from Girl Chat Sports. Yesterday Monday I was saying Girls Chat Sports because I was thinking it was two of them, so it's girls, but it's actually Girl Chat Sports, like, because girls. Anyway, I was wrong the other day. All right, so let me give you guys the update on these poll questions real quick because I don't want to break into a whole nother conversation. I do have stuff I want to talk about, but I told y'all this show is going to be what it is. Like, it was almost like as I was prepping today, I was like, what are you doing? Why are you doing all this reading? You're not going to have time to talk about half of any of this stuff. I want to talk about the kids, like Little League. Football is changing on the guise of player safety and things of that nature. I can save it for Friday. I'm looking to book a couple of NFL prospects for Friday. I got some leads on a couple of dudes, so we'll see if we can tomorrow nail some stuff down and get some of these young cats that's trying to make their way into the NFL and talk to them, ask them some of those generic questions, those hard-hitting generic questions. What kind of team best fits your skill set type foolery, but I'll do it. I'll entertain. So, as a sports fan, this is hashtag Put It on the Poll, brought to us by sportsnewsandbrews.com. Would you gladly accept scandal if it came with constant winning? Still, 100%. I'm all about the winning. And on Facebook, people was like, hell yeah, all the Falcons fans that I'm friends with on Facebook, hell yeah, anytime. Because it only matters when it's the other team. Like, the Patriots are cheaters. Really? But what if your team had 5 rings? Or whatever, 4 rings, whatever it is. I mean, you wouldn't care either. You don't hear the Saints chirping about nothing. Bounty Gate, they don't care. They're like, yeah, call us what you want to. They ain't take these rings back, though. This ain't the NCAA, cuz they're not taking championships back. If you were an NFL player, would you prefer to be a Super Bowl champion or a Hall of Famer? This is deadlocked at 50-50. Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion. Like, I'm more of well, I guess you can probably see it's a one-man show. I'm more of the Hall of Famer because to me, those are things that you can control. There are dudes that played with my man, with Bobby Hamilton, that didn't get no playing time. They did their thing at practice, I guess, but, you never know who they are unless they told you, yeah, I was on that team that won the championship in Houston that time. Nah. But, like, dudes like, LaDainian Tomlinson, guys who's probably going to go in, T.O. and Randy Moss, those dudes are immortalized forever and ever and ever. They're NFL Hall of Famers. Anytime somebody goes up to Canton, Ohio and walks through that museum, they'll always be there. And that's something that you can control. You can control, to a certain extent, how good you are, how much you maximize your potential. So I would probably lean on the side of being the Hall of Famer, man, to be honest with you. Is Trump talking about you when he says, quote unquote, the American people? 83% still say no. Is it time to retire Welcome to Atlanta in favor of something new as the song that's played every time the Falcons are on TV? 57% still say no. Y'all love that song, man. Luda and not Diddy. Well, Diddy's on the remix and Snoop is on the remix and JD though. Luda and JD. Still a classic, I guess, even though the stuff that they're talking about is mad dated. Choose one out of these 3 options. Trump. Oh, these are already closed. This one's already closed, but I just like to say it anyway. Trump, any other human being, or a trained chimp. Deadlocked, 50-50. Trump got 0 votes. God, he's such a horrible human being, man. I wonder if the ladies I'm about to talk to, I wonder if any of them voted for Trump, or if anybody would like turn on the microphone, not with Breitbart, and admit to that. Oh, I got an update for you guys before we get those ladies on. So I told you guys the other week about the situation with me at Publix and the folks not wanting to wear no damn gloves when they was fixing my food. Well, after I called the manager, I went back today. I went to the other one, in the black one, the last time I went to Publix, because they always got on gloves. You know what I mean? But this one I talked to the white manager, and there was a different lady behind the counter this time, and she had on her gloves the whole time. She didn't have to go put none on, and it wasn't even like it was a long line of people, before me. I just walked up, and she already had her gloves on, ready to serve my food. So shout out to Publix, getting that right, so I can go down there, get me a couple wings during lunchtime, and enjoy myself. Because they're so good. Those Mardi Gras wings, and then I got those like fried drumettes that's like crazy crunchy. Like you bite into them, there's like crumbs flying everywhere. The crunch from it, they're good. I just don't want your boo-boo hand, doodle finger in the booty fingers on my chicken or in the boat that the chicken go into. So shout out to Publix for rectifying that situation. There's something else weird that I saw today. This dude from the Nation of Islam, for all my weed smokers out there, and the guys and girls who like to smoke that good, that medical grade stuff, apparently the Nation of Islam is supporting a study that says medical marijuana turns you gay. Like, here's the thing, man. Like, what are we going to get past that? All right, so it's time, after that, I guess it's time to check in on the Girl Chat Sports ladies. Ladies, how are you? Hey.
How's it going?
I'm good. You guys are on the One Mic with Big Mike show right now.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The Girl Chat Sports.
Hey, yeah.
Our listeners are recording, so we're just jumping you right into the gun. We're not really doing a little intro or nothing. So
that's cool. Let's run it.
How's the show been going so far? I caught the last part of it with Mr. Hamilton.
Bobby Hamilton? Oh, no. Yeah. Well, he made it good. I'm glad you heard that, because you don't want to just hear me. Yeah. Don't want to do that at all.
Well, I enjoyed that. I actually looked him up and didn't realize that he had actually been drafted by my Seahawks. So any Seahawks draftee is a friend of mine.
Well, they didn't draft him. He was an undrafted free agent, and they cut him loose and sent him over to Europe. So they shipped him out.
Well, it happens.
What's good, y'all? What's happening?
Well, we're just sitting here. We saw you. We wanted to talk with you. I mean, I think our major question, I'm sure you've already divulged into this a little bit in your show so far, is obviously you're in Atlanta. Are you pro Falcons, or what's your take on the Super Bowl?
Oh, I haven't talked to any about the Super Bowl. I don't care.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I'm just playing.
Are you like a superstitious? Or
no. I'm just not. I'm not a fan in the sense. I'm a fan of sport, and even growing up here in Atlanta Falcons fans, at a very young age, showed me why I did not want to be a Falcons fan. And because I like the team and I like to watch the team, but so many people who grew up with family members who were emotionally invested in the team, they were never satisfied. They were always mad and always down talking the team. Like, my dad wasn't a sports guy. He just worked. So I didn't get any of that ire from him and that vitriol towards the team. I just liked the team. But I was like, if I got to do that to be a fan of this team, I'm good. I mean, I'm cool. So as far as the game goes,
save yourself the heartache.
Yeah, I'm torn a little bit, because I want something to be able to talk about the Monday after. I don't care about who wins. I think Roger Goodell having to give that Super Bowl trophy to Robert Kraft and Belichick and maybe a MVP trophy to Tom Brady is awesomely awkward to me. But also, my
lump in his throat.
Yeah, but my city wants this. My city wants this championship, man, regardless of the people here and the people how they are as sports fans. And, I criticize them a lot, and I talk about the low sports IQ. They want it. They want something to celebrate. They want that parade. And as an Atlantan, I want it for them. I want to see that come here. I want to see, a championship come here.
I want it for Dan Quinn, and I want it for, our ex-Seahawk, But I also want it because you guys, as a city, have only had one championship compared to, I think, New England the whole Massachusetts. They've won like 32, I think, championships. over the course of how many years and decades. I mean, it's time for you guys. I hope the Falcons win. I want the Falcons.
Okay,
We're rooting for the underdog.
Now what we got to do is we got to decipher the eyes. Like, who is the eye with the Seattle? Because I feel this being a theme. Like, everything is going to lead back to the. Okay, Melissa's the Seattle. Okay,
Melissa, diehard Seahawks. Yes.
And who else are we with here?
This is Stephanie, and I'm a Cowboys fan.
Oh, sorry about that, Stephanie. I used to be a Cowboys fan, Stephanie. No, and I'm not even clowning you. I used to be a Cowboys fan. I used to claim the Cowboys, but this Jason Garrett thing is a ridiculous situation to me. I think he's an empty suit, and he's very, very fortunate to be in the position that he's in. And I couldn't find myself like justifiably rooting for the team because I'm not a dude that ever says somebody should be fired. I hate that whole concept of they need to fire that guy because no one fires that dude when my fries are cold at McDonald's. You know what I mean? So it's just arbitrarily saying someone needs to be fired when it's going to affect him, his assistant coaches, and their families and all that. I'm not about that life. So I just stopped. I said, you know what? It's probably better for me anyway.
I was just going to say that we could legitimately say there's always next year and actually have hope for next year.
Well, you know, it's the NFL, though, and things happen. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Dak Prescott is not made out of Teflon. Neither is Zeke Elliott. So things happen. So that whole notion of maybe there's next year, I've talked to a couple of NFL guys on my team who have lost Super Bowls here in Atlanta, and I asked them that same question, like, how did you feel? Did you feel like, all right, we know how it is now? And to a man, they were like, man, we blew it. Because they realized the team that you see this year won't be the team that you see next year. And, of course, there's more film on guys like Dak. There's more film on guys like Zeke. And the guys who call plays on defense and play defense, they get paid money too. And it's their job to catch up to the guys who are ahead of them. So, you know, I understand the optimism because the NFL is full of it. But I do also understand that year to year, it's a real crazy situation. The Falcons 8-8 last year. Who saw this coming?
Well, they could have a little bit more optimism this year because, I mean, last year they really had no hope. And to go into it knowing that Tony Romo was going to save your day again obviously wasn't going to work. So I don't like the Dallas Cowboys whatsoever, but obviously having young, healthy talent currently is one thing in their favor. But again, I think your Jason Garrett point was pretty on point because he really is just a puppet for Jerry Jones.
Bad.
I didn't even know that Jason Garrett was the coach of the team probably until 2 or 3 years in.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, he's just bad, man. He has no awareness of anything that's going on the football field. And all you look over to the sideline, what is he doing? Clapping and slapping people on. He's like a paid cheerleader, a male cheerleader. Which, by the way, what do you guys think about that?
Male cheerleaders?
Yeah. Isn't like the whole cheerleader situation in football still one of those last standing bastions of sexism?
I mean, as a woman, I can tell you this. I don't want to go to a football game looking at male cheerleaders. So I think the female part of it, I think there's a lot of men that still go to games and like they've been entertained by women that are cheerleading on the sides. I don't want to see a man cheering on the sides. I want to see a man in a uniform playing the game.
And this is Stephanie, and I'm going to say equal opportunity cheerleaders.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about.
Men out on the field.
That's what I used to actually produce a show for a dude that does radio here in Atlanta that used to be a male cheerleader for the Baltimore Ravens. He's like a manly man. He's served a couple tours in Iraq. He's that guy, but he used to be a cheerleader. So it's not like, I don't know if it's anything too feminizing about it. It's one of those weird things that's come up in conversation with other people. And I know I probably derailed your entire situation now, but I don't get a chance to.
I think for me, it's not so much a feminine, like there's making them more feminine. I just think, for me personally, I'm going to a game to watch football as a woman who loves sports. I'm not going to go check out the guys in cheer uniforms. I'm watching, the arms and the, whatever you want to call it, of the guys playing the game.
I see it.
Not necessarily the ones cheering, holding up signs, and raising flags around.
I feel you. Yeah, I see where you at with that.
So we're out in Las Vegas and, of course, legal betting here, and we were taking a look at some of the strangest prop bets for the Super Bowl. We want to share some strange things that you can bet on in the Super Bowl.
Have you ever been out to Las Vegas? Have you witnessed what what either a March Madness or a Super Bowl weekend is like in Vegas ever?
I haven't, man. My former co-host goes out there a lot for the fights. He's a big fighting fan. Guy I used to do a show with here in Atlanta. He goes out there a lot for the fight, so he's told me a lot, but I haven't found my way out there just yet.
Well, it's pretty crazy. I mean, Super Bowl alone, I think, second to New Year's or second to March Madness. March Madness is like a whole month of people flying in and out of town just to, party or watch sports and basketball all month long. But yeah, there are part of what's fun for us is that we could actually go into sports. I know there's illegal betting, of course, but as far as us living here in Las Vegas, we do get to enjoy some of the prop bets, which are pretty interesting. A couple of them, how many times will Gisele Bündchen be shown on TV or the broadcast? There was... What did you find over there?
Man, how many times will Gronkowski be said in the whole TV broadcast?
Or how many times will Deflate or Deflategate be said by the announcers?
They even have where you can bet on how many times Trump will be either spoken about in the broadcast and who will Donald Trump pick to win the game.
I think we know that.
Oh, that's the safest bet ever. Like, what are the odds of that?
The odds on that one's not going to be too good to make no money.
Right, I got to bet like $1 million to make one.
Right, exactly. There's also, I thought was funny, the Houston, we have a problem. How many times will that be used during the live broadcast?
Oh, getting to the corny stuff. I like it.
Bet on other things like in the game, heads or tails. Will Malcolm Butler intercept a pass? Will either team score 3 straight times? The length of the first reception by Chris Hogan. So there's some really, you could make some money off of these games.
There was a good one a couple of years ago in that Seahawks game. How would they get the first score? Was that the Seahawks game? Where the first score was a safety?
Oh, it was. Yeah, it was the Seahawks game.
Yeah, that was a good one. I think somebody cleaned up against that too. So somebody bet safety and cleaned up.
There's actually a guy out here. I forgot his name. He's on Instagram. He's huge in betting out here, but he actually put down, I think, like $2 or $4 million last year on the Super Bowl. This year he had bet the Falcons to start with, and the odds to that I think were like 20-something to 1. So he's in, and he had put down like $2 or $3 million on that. So he's going to be cleaning up. He cleaned up for the NFC Championship, and he'll be doing it again most likely for Super Bowl, I'm hoping.
Think about that. You got that much money that you could just play with it like that. Like I don't know that I'd be in that club. If I had that money, I wouldn't want to play around with losing it. I don't know, but I guess it's the Vegas life, huh? What do you got?
Well, I think it's the whole part of betting. Part of betting is you got to play to win.
The exhilaration
of it.
Guys
play pretty hard.
Speaking of, I got to go check my lotto tickets. Are you guys gonna switch over?
We don't have the lotto.
You don't need it. You don't need it. Are you guys gonna?
I missed scratch tickets.
Are you guys gonna once or if this Raiders thing happens, you're gonna like switch your loyalties? Is gonna be a Raiders fandom or split fandom, or how's that gonna work?
I'll never switch my loyalty, but I have contemplated the idea of working on season tickets so that I can see because the Seahawks always play the Raiders usually in preseason, so at least getting to see one game at home with my team would be nice. But I'm supportive of the Raiders coming here. I'm not a Raiders fan, but I also don't hate them. So
yeah, we just want NFL in our city, and to be honest, we will support them because they'll be playing here and they'll be representing Las Vegas, but no alliance will be switched.
There'll be no Raiders gear in my closet, let's put it that way.
Look at that. All we want is a team, even if we have to steal them. No, I'm just playing.
You know what? As a Seattle local, I've had that happen to me, and it's not fun, but at the same time is if you're not doing what you have to do to keep them, that happens. But I think the Sonics were actually stoned a little harder than Oakland. Oakland's had some time, and from what I hear, it wasn't until as of late that Ronnie Lott and his people wanted to start doing something about it. So
well, it might not happen now because they got investors that are pulling out. The guys who promised them the money, they're pulling out now. So it's like I called it in the first segment of the show. It's like getting a divorce but still having to live with the person that you divorced because you don't have anywhere else to go. It feels like that in Oakland to me. They're supposed to be gone, but why are you still here? Every time I go to the refrigerator, I got to see you. Got to worry about eating your food. You got to put your name on your food now. Weird stuff,
like when your job says that you have a week left in your contract or something, you don't want to wait there no more. I mean, the thing is that Adelson pulled out. We're not still sure of the details as to why he would want to. It sounds like he wasn't included on some meetings and some lease, going over the lease options and stuff, which maybe he kind of got a sour taste in his mouth about. So he pulled out, and I don't think what the city of Las Vegas or the rest of the people that were involved in this knew was that Goldman Sachs, the bank that was kind of going to be backing them as well, was only going to be in it if Adelson was. So hashtag the power of Adelson.
Yeah.
The power of the Sands Corporation.
I just don't know if there's anybody in Vegas outside of, casino owners that have that sort of clout to make it happen now.
So you think it's going to be done? It's a done deal?
I mean, they're still looking at other options. They're not counting it completely over with, but it did put a definite, it took them 2 steps back, let's say that.
The NFL is such a mafia organization. Like I can't stand the way like they hold fan bases hostage. Like you got billionaires. You know what? Build your own damn stadium. You got billions of dollars. What you still trying to get money from other people for? Like that's just such a microcosm of what America is. It's like we'll trick these poor people into thinking we really, really love them and need them, and just when they don't give us what we want, say goodbye. It's like see, again.
Well,
Wow.
I think what killed me too is that right after this happened, then you hear the news that the San Diego has now sent an offer out like, hey, well, if you don't go to Las Vegas, you're welcome to come to San Diego.
Crazy.
Well, why would they want to go there? You guys just got rid of your team. Like you couldn't support your own team. Why would you want another one?
So ridiculous.
Immediately after in the same fiscal year.
So ridiculous.
That sounds just backwards to me, but hey.
They're even talking about maybe taking the Raiders to Santa Clara. I don't know how that'll work either.
They can't even deal with the Niners there, let alone anything else. I don't know I went to a couple games in Santa Clara for the Niners games, and they have like the worst ability to move traffic around and get in and out of those games. I think it's probably one of the worst places to watch a game. But I'm also a Niner hater, so what can I say?
Yeah, that's the heroin. It is football. People will deal with anything to get some football. They look at bad Thursday night football. They'll look at terrible Pro Bowl football. It's just like dope. They just keep stepping on it, and it gets more diluted, and we keep shooting it, and we just keep on shooting it. And they don't care. No one cares. You know what I mean? How bad it is. Roger Goodell was doing his State of the League thing today, talking about how, oh, yeah, everything is so good and lie. Like they love talking about the concussion numbers going down and all that. Reported concussions have gone down. Like once you show me Matt Moore get his life taken on the football field by Bud Dupree and come back in the football game in one play, yeah, that's a non-reported concussion. That I thought Matt Moore was going to be dead. He came right back in the game to play quarterback, didn't he? Yeah. It's all smoke and mirrors when it comes to the NFL.
Right. I know you had mentioned it, I think, either in your last cast on Monday or maybe it was for today, but I kind of wanted to get your take. I don't know if you've already addressed this earlier today in regards to the LeBron and Charles Barkley rivalry that's happening or battle.
Oh, that Charles Barkley's a clown. He's a court he's a court jester, man, and he's one of those people. I talked about it in the first segment how he's able to get away with saying things, just the most rambunctious things, because he's in this world, I think, where he thinks people are laughing with him, and they're really just laughing at him. Just look at the way people respond to him sometimes. Oh, that's just Charles. That's just Charles being Charles. No one takes him seriously. So now, finally, when someone gets tired of that, oh, back in my day when I used to walk 30 miles to school uphill both ways in a blizzard, when people get tired of that, and somebody like LeBron James, who, let's face it, we've never seen this guy before, not as an athlete, not as a person. He is the one person, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I've never seen an athlete who has this much power, league-wide, not just within his organization, but league-wide. He's constructing collective bargaining agreements that benefit him, definitely. He's basically signing players to the team. Tristan Thompson's $85 million. I'm not mad at him, but he's Tristan Thompson. You know what I mean? J.R. Smith feeling emboldened to opt out of a contract to get a bigger one and gets it. Of course. So now with the balance of power shifting, all these old dudes, the George Karls of the world, the Phil Jacksons of the world, the Charles Barkleys of the world, they don't know how to look at it because they've never seen it before. So it looks like whining. And like he's being a punk when all he's doing is what each one of us, me, you, both of you guys, we try to put ourselves in the best positions possible to succeed in our given field. That's all he's doing. And if he says, I need something else to be as successful as I can possibly be, and if he's in a position where he knows he can get that, wouldn't you love that at your job? Wouldn't you love to walk in and tell them, look, I got you by the balls, Mr. Owner. This is what I need. Give it to me or else. Most people don't.
I think we all knew he had that power when he was going back. I mean, I think that was clear when he moved back to Cleveland. That was going to be what his job and role was. I don't know. I don't disagree with him at all. I do find though that it feels like it's kind of been like a bad I don't know, maybe the second half of the season so far for him. We had the team's had a terrible January. There's a lot of injuries on the team. His support of Hillary Clinton went unturned in Ohio. There's a couple other things. I mean, I think he has, valid points, but I do think, I feel like sometimes he is still hurt that his team hasn't got the extra MVP that maybe it should. I mean, the Warriors got Durant. They got a good pick at it. I mean, they got a great deal off that.
Right.
What's going to be left for the Cavs? I mean, they're really reaching for Carmelo. I don't know if Carmelo is the answer for them.
They're working out Lance Stevenson, Kurt Heinrich, and Mario Chalmers right now. Talking to Deron Williams.
All four of those names just gave me chills. You mean they can get Lance Stevenson? Mario Chalmers. Is his Achilles even healed? That'd be interesting. Just whatever. Like, this is all, at this point, this is now Dan Gilbert understanding what part of the game he's in. The part where now he gets to be the sympathetic figure in the media, where people start feeling sorry for the billionaire owner. Not this guy. Look, dude, you knew what deal you were signing when LeBron came back, that it wasn't going to be easy. You don't get to write the letter that you wrote and have this guy come back in town, get this team a championship, and now act like you're the victim, like you're not supposed to cow down and bow down to him. Look, I'm all about the NBA, and here's why. Because this is the one league where the players understand that they are the commodity. Nothing moves without them. In all these other leagues, the NFL especially is so terrible at it. These players, Antonio Brown, Steelers, he's totally outplayed his contract in Pittsburgh. So last year, they asked him, is he going to hold out? Same thing with Rob Gronkowski. Are you going to hold out? Because you have a bunch of leverage on your side. Guys are suspended. You're the only viable option. Nah, I'm going to come to work. Really? Okay, fast forward a year. What's happening in the media now with Antonio Brown? Now, all of a sudden, he's this huge problem. One video turns him into a diva, and we don't know what we're going to do with him. To me, all that stuff is game playing to try to bring his value down. And this is the game that gets played in the NFL. It don't happen that way in NBA. Dudes say, I want my money. Like, look at, what's the kid's name? Mike Conley. Mike Conley's the highest paid player next to LeBron in the entire league. Who knows who Mike Conley is?
Wow.
And I'm not mad at him. Yeah. Get money.
It's not a household
I'm surprised about that.
Yeah, get money, man. Let's ride. When you got the power, use it, because in our lives, all of our lives, we would love to be in their position. But what happens in fandom, people look at those people and don't understand how that can be a thing and think that something has to be wrong with it. So now I have to criticize it to make myself feel better as a human. Nah, you want to be in that position. Whatever job you do, if you work at McDonald's, if you collect the trash, if you're an investment banker, whatever you do, you love to have that power. But it's easier to criticize somebody else who does have it because you don't.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, we know it's time for you to wrap up soon, but since it is National Girls and Women's in Sports Day, and we are Girl Chat Sports,
is it?
We just wanted to ask you. I don't know if there's a favorite woman athlete that you have, someone that I don't know, maybe has come across your path at some point that you've enjoyed watching or talking to or hearing about?
It's not even close. It's the Williams sisters. It's not even close. Like, I think I was talking about this on Monday. I think that's the greatest untold sports story in American history, probably. I know I sound like I'm being hyperbolic, but if you look at what it is, these two little black girls from Compton whose daddy knew nothing about the sport, nothing at all, self-taught, and said, I'm going to get me and my family out of this terrible situation by teaching my girls this sport that don't necessarily come to this side of the tracks. And for those girls to turn into women who have done what they've done in that sport, like the conversation is so far gone from Serena Williams being one of the best female athletes of all time. She's got to be on that list with the Michael Jordans, with the Wayne Gretzky's, of the best athletes, period, of all time.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes, it's not about who you are, it's where you come from. And that story is not as glamorous, especially when you include her dad, because of all the stuff that he brought to the table. But he just was that dude who wasn't playing that junk from the very beginning. Like all this racist stuff that y'all gonna try to come at me with when I go to Australia or when I go to England and do these tournaments, I'm not having it. My girls are gonna be out here whooping everybody's ass, and you're gonna see the end result here in a few years. And now we're seeing it now, where Serena she's at a place in amongst the sports ranks that I don't follow tennis that well, but I think, period, for female athletes, I don't see a female athlete reaching that or coming from where she came from and reaching the heights that she's reached ever in my lifetime again. So to answer your question, it would be both sisters, though, because I think both of them can attribute certain things to the success of the other one. So both Williams sisters would be, if I had to have a favorite, me being greedy, my favorites, two of them.
You take them both.
Yeah, both of them.
Both. Well, and that's great because it's also the first day of Black History Month, so we definitely support the Williams sisters, and I actually really enjoyed your discussion in regards to them on Monday, because I thought it was hilarious how you had basically put that if, the Williams father was white, he would have been Archie Manning.
Oh.
Like, that's clearly
Because that's
case.
all it is. the Cooper Manning, the one who no one ever hears about, he's at the Super Bowl now working for people. He's got all these media jobs. You think that's because he's trained?
Suit at the Super Bowl.
Yeah. You think he's trained? Nah, he's Cooper. He's a Manning. Daddy's Archie, so it's time to rock and roll. Yeah. Those Williams sisters, they big Richard, that scowl on his face, never smiling, that wide-nosed black man. Yeah. Nobody got time to play with that. He had a mission. There
will be a Lifetime miniseries or
please
a
say
BET
that. Oh, don't say that either.
series coming, I'm sure.
God, it needs to be, somebody needs to put some production value into it. Nah, I don't want to see, the last time I looked at BET, to be honest with you, wow. How long has it been? I even stopped watching BET when they have the Martin marathons because they try to put too many commercials in it. You ever notice how Martin never starts at 2 o'clock? It starts at like 2:12 because the previous episode had like 18 minutes of commercials in it. I can't even watch it then. So
just watching the new edition one, I'm so glad I recorded it. I DVR'd it because there were so many commercials.
Yeah,
and now
it's greed, man. It's just being greedy. I haven't seen that either. Maybe I will one day, but
you have to see that. And if you have to pick between one of the 3 2-hour episodes, definitely choose the third one. It's the one that you're going to be probably singing and moving to because I was. Those are good times to see those years.
Wait a minute. Wait, back up. And I hope I'm not holding you guys. But wait a minute. They did 3 days of 2 hours apiece.
Yeah, well, 2 hours including all the commercials.
Oh yeah, so it's like an hour of commercials.
An hour total.
Shout out to BT, man. Get money, man. Get money, Bob.
Well, we'll let you go. We know you've been on for a while. We're going to continue and finish up here, but we really appreciate you joining us, and we hope we didn't, stab your audience over there too hard. But
yeah, thanks for having us.
Look, they're probably thanking me for this. Finally, we don't have to listen to this dumbass. Thank you, guys. Thank you, girls. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.
All right. I know we went a little bit long today. This is the One Mic with Big Mike show. We're going to bounce up out of here. Got to take care of some business. I got to get up early in the morning. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That was fun, hanging out with Melissa and Stephanie. Hope I'm saying names right because I'm so bad with names. But that's it, man. That was the One Mic with Big Mike show. About 10, 11 minutes over, but it was well worth it. You know what I mean? To get all that in. Shout out to Alex Khvatov. Shout out to Bobby Hamilton. Shout out to the ladies. Girl Chat Sports. Make sure y'all check them out. girlchatsports.com. I think they're recording the situation, so I'll keep you guys posted on when the playback is going to be for that situation as well. But until Friday, man, like I said, Friday, I'm going to try to get these prospects on here, these NFL prospects on here. And if not, you just have to deal with me. Buyer beware. It is the One Mic with Big Mike show, man. I'm here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Here being Spreaker. Here being the Spreaker app. Tune in and the onemicwithbigmike.com. If you missed any of the show, you can always go back on any of those platforms and check it out on demand, or to iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and, of course, YouTube. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at One Mic with Big Mike, and like the Facebook page at One Mic with Big Mike. Until Friday, you guys be safe, man. I'm going to holler at you.